Welcome to the PRFFP, the podcast showcasing the films and the directors of the Party Room Film Festival. This week's guest directed Mousetrap Killers, Thrice the Stice, and this year's best film, Bargain Batman. Please welcome Golden Dewey winner Matt Stice.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
It's an audio. All right, for the listeners, he just bowed. He did a very royal bow.
It is an audio podcast. I haven't forgotten that. I just did that for you, Jacob. You are my audience.
I am. It's safe to say I'm your biggest fan, probably. All right. Well, I didn't write this question out, but how does it feel? How does it feel to be the Golden Dewey winner, the champion of all of the directors?
Well, Mr. McGlone, I gotta say it feels very rewarding. I've worked really hard to try to bring myself up. Take my level up to where that my peers are at. Just try to, no, it feels good. It's a good time. I didn't. So my general thing when I make PRFF films is that I get an idea in my head, usually several months in advance, if not even longer than that. And I just make the film I want to make. And if it ends up winning the Golden Dewey, great. If not, my goal is really just to try to entertain the public, entertain the PRFFers. And I'm just glad that I guess apparently that worked out this year.
You talked about how you plan your films out like months in advance. I want to touch on it briefly right here because I just thought of it. The day after our rules and criteria were announced, you messaged me saying, "Can I come to Kentucky?" So we're going out of order here, but tell me a little bit about your general timeline because you obviously had your script ready on the day of.
So my timeline is I usually will just get a random idea pop into my head and then I'll just kind of think about it. And as I'm doing like chores, just going about daily life, random bits like, oh, this would be funny if this line was included or this particular aspect. So I build stuff over time and it kind of snowballs, but I don't actually write the script until the rules drop because I don't know if I'm going to randomly have to, completely change everything based on when the rules drop. I have like an outline, sometimes a very detailed outline of like all the stuff I want to have happen, but I have to be flexible for obvious reasons. So I wait until the rules are out, and then assuming that I can do what I want, then I will just go ahead and write the script, like get everything figured out. But generally, since I do typically do a lot of like special effects stuff and things of that nature, I typically try to film mine as soon as I can. So that's why I'm like, I have the people in mind that I want to be in it. So I try to get them on board so I can film in the early part of June. So I just have a ton of time to edit. So I know that probably won't work out every single year, but that's generally what I'm going to try to do. I already have an idea for this year. Again, like whether I can do it, it really just depends on what the committee says in terms of the rules. Because if it's like something that I can kind of bend, a little bit, do whatever to make it work, then I'll do that. But if it's something that's like, I'd have to completely redo my idea, like if there's like requirements or whatever, then I have at least 1 to 2 backup ideas at the ready. So if those work out great, if not, hey, I can come up with something on the spot. Like we have 2 months to film. I don't think it'd be too difficult, but that's just kind of generally how I work.
Tell me a little bit about your first reactions to getting to choose your category. What was that conversation like?
I I had a bit of like an evil smirk on my face. I was like, okay, I can work with this. I can work with this. And then Mitchell and I had a bit of a back and forth on that. And we ping ponged ideas. And I know that on his podcast, I think he mentioned that he was the one who suggested fourth wall break. That was actually me because I knew what I wanted to do with all the Batman stuff. And I was like, I wonder if he'll go for this. And then he did. And I was like, it's all going to plan.
So what I'm hearing is that your beef isn't over yet. Like you still want another round because, now he's taking credit for your idea.
Man, like I took care of business. No, it was a good battle. It was fun, and I'm glad Mitchell, put forth a worthy film this year. I mean, not that his other films weren't worthy. I mean, well, you know what I'm saying. Scott Mitchell had to be that guy. But no, I respect Mitchell. I think he's a great talent with media, and I think he does a really good job, putting stuff together. And I really liked his
Mm.
film this past year. I thought it was a good film, and I was, I had fun with our battle. I thought it was a good time.
But make no mistakes, Matt Stice came out on top.
I did. I think it was 18-3, I believe, was the tally, if I'm not mistaken. So,
You said that you kind of already had the idea in your head. That's how y'all came up with the category. Tell me a little bit about initial reactions to your actor, the prop, and the line.
so the actor Andrew, that one, I mean, it's always tough when you get someone who lives far away because then you pretty much just have to have them send something to you.
Mhm,
And for me, I really, I hate being like that guy who's like a perfectionist and like has to have them do it a very specific way. So I try to like just kind of give him a guideline and just have him do a few takes and then just I'll make whatever they send me work. But honestly, Andrew sent me some gold. I was really happy with the stuff that he got me.
mhm,
Because like at first I didn't really know how to include him because I was like, oh well, I'll do like a little Batman parody, but I'm not really entirely sure how Andrew's gonna fit in this because he'll have to just send his clip in. But
mhm,
then I was like, we're doing best fourth wall break, so I'll literally just have him do like a fourth wall bit. So I just had him play like a writer who's like extremely upset at the poor quality of writing in the film.
mm,
And then as far as like the prop and the line of dialogue, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I mean, it's a good line, but obviously, as other people have said on pretty much every podcast this season, it's a tough line to fit in like an
mm.
actual legitimate context. But I think I did a decent job this year. Like, I found a somewhat usable, like a viable spot for it. So I was okay with the line. The prop, um, that was cool too. Like, I mean, the Nickelback CD, initially I was upset. I was like, this is dumb. Like, why is this a thing? But then I was like, wait a second though. I needed a way. So in the script where Batman's fighting the bandits, I needed some way for like so um he takes out the one bandit, and then the other bandit's like across the lawn. And I was
Mhm,
like, I guess I'll have the bandit come across the lawn, come back up, and then he punches him or something. But then when the Nickelback CD was a thing, I was like, oh, perfect. He'll just take the CD and throw it, and it'll hit the guy in the head, and I'll knock him out. So
mhm.
honestly, the Nickelback CD actually kind of came in clutch for me, and that actually added, I think, a bit to the film that otherwise may not have been there.
Well, I don't think it would be a controversial statement to say that I think you used your actor, your prop, and your line the most efficiently out of all the films this year. For example, using Andrew, that was a fourth wall break. You use that to reinforce your category. The
Hmm.
prop, that's a fourth wall break. The line, he's saying that, he says it, and then he looks at the camera.
Yeah,
I think you used them all perfectly.
I appreciate that. I like to think that it all kind of came together. I will add another note about the prop. I had already decided that like no matter what the prop was, I was just going to have a member from the audience throw it through the TV to Batman.
Mhm.
So like if it were like something large and bulky, it doesn't matter. I would have found a way to like throw it in. But then it was a CD, and I was like, oh well, that's easy.
The next year, the prop's gonna be like washing machine, and you're like, "I got you, Batman." Well, let's get into the film. I mean, this was a role clearly meant for Sam, right?
Oh yeah, from the very beginning, he had expressed interest previously, I think, in being involved in like a Batman type project. Or at least I think so. I mean, from what I remember, I had like kind of floated the idea and asked him if he would be willing, and he's pretty about. So, I mean, I provided the costume and everything. I just needed him to take it from there, and he did very effectively, I would say.
Mm. Like I said, you accomplish your fourth wall breaks a million times throughout your film, but so much so you accomplish it within like the first 30 seconds of the film. Um,
Uh-huh.
So, like, do you think you had already won your category? You were like, "All right, let me get this out of the way. Now we can move on with the film." Tell me about that.
No, because in PRFF, anything can happen,
Mm,
and people that you don't think are going to go hard will go hard. So, and I knew that Mitchell was going to do, he was going to make a comedy film this year.
mhm.
So I was like, no, I gotta have, I gotta pull out all stops. I gotta really make sure that I get and secure the W. Which honestly, though, for me, that was more just to annoy people. Why I put that bit in, it was just to like make fun of like writers. Like you have to have like a legitimate inciting incident. It has to be a call to action, like a reason for a character to
Mhm.
do something. And I thought it'd just be kind of funny to just eschew that and just have him find the costume and be like, "Oh, I want to fight crime in this," and he just puts it on and just does it. And I thought it'd be kind of fun because like instead of doing like a spoof where it is Batman, it's just literally a normal guy dressed in a Batman costume trying to be Batman.
Alright, so tell me a little bit about your script writing process. I'm not I mean, obviously, you're a winner, so why should I question your method? But the argument about which way the comic book convention is, the clarification about Michael Battolino, tell me about that. Why was that in there?
I just thought it'd be funny if 'cause I figured, cause like, he says, "I'm vengeance," kinda like in the most recent The Batman movie, and
Mhm.
I thought it'd be funny if, like, they thought that he was the comic book character Vengeance. I was like, "Surely there's a comic character out there somewhere named Vengeance," and I looked it up, and sure enough, there was. What I didn't realize, I thought with term like Vengeance, it'd be like some sorta, like, fairly well-known, more major character. It's like some very obscure Marvel character that probably most people don't know about that. So I was like, "Oh, people may or may not get this, but I don't care if they get it or not. I'm just gonna put it in there as a one-off thing anyway because I think it's funny, and they can take it or leave it."
I mean, it definitely was funny. It's just like you put the brakes on the film, and then, there are just like the subtle things like Paul snagging the money from Zach while we're talking about it. Just it opened the doorway for a lot of good little gags.
That's kinda like I don't know, that's the kinda humor I kinda like, is where, like, you've got momentum, and then there's, like, a little mini side tangent for, like, no reason, where they talk about, like, some trivial thing, and
Mhm.
then they go back and, like, the momentum picks back up again. I don't know, I kinda like humor like that, so that's why I put that in.
Tell me a little bit about your sound design because the punch that Zach gives to Sam, it's so stiff and meaty and like just it's a real thud. Tell me about that.
I think I just searched on YouTube or somewhere. I just searched the internet for like fight sound effects or punch sound effects. And I don't remember if it was YouTube or if it was some random like sound effects site. I found like a collection of like different thunks, like different punches. And I just downloaded that and I just picked out a few that I liked and just kind of put them in.
But so tell me about the blocking for that as well. Because correct me if I'm wrong, that's not a still shot. You are tracking with him. You're
Yeah, I think
tracking
it's
with Zach as he walks up
handheld.
to Sam.
So actually, I let my actors do the choreography. I let Sam, Josiah, and Zach kind of figure out what they wanted to do in terms of the fight. I basically, if I remember correctly, I kind of told them like what needed to happen in terms of like, this character goes down, this character does this, but I let them do like the actual fight moves and all that. I let them figure it out, and then I just kind of
Mm.
followed it with the camera.
We move on from our first interaction and we go into the montage sequence. Tell me a little bit about the training montage.
So for that, the direction I gave Sam was basically just you learn all your moves by just watching Batman films. Like that's your quote unquote training. So
Mhm,
just try to mimic what you see on screen, and then we'll just get like a bunch of random shots. I think Josiah was a second shooter for that. We had two phones, and we just got like two different angles of him just going crazy and just dancing around, doing all kinds of nonsense. And I just picked a
mhm.
few seconds from it here and there. And then I was like, it'd be kind of funny if then he just started doing random household mundane tasks in the Batman costume that really have nothing to do with fighting. So we just got like a bunch of random shots of him just doing laundry or whatever.
You have all of this montage, like, scrolling from, right
Mhm,
to left. Tell me
mhm.
about that. Is that a reference to anything, or you just thought it'd look cool, or
I thought it looked cool. It didn't look as cool as it did in my head. Like in my head, I had a specific way I wanted it to look. I thought it'd be cool to just have it scroll. It seemed like it'd be more dynamic, more interesting to watch.
Mhm.
And then it was a royal pain to try to edit that because I'd never tried to do anything like that before. And while I knew like ways to do it, it was like more tedious than I'd hoped, and I was kind of in a time crunch. So it didn't really truly like it didn't look exactly as good as I had hoped it did, but I think it turned out okay.
Well, I was about to say, I wouldn't hate on it too much. I think it accomplishes what you're going for.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Alright, so our protagonist is all trained up, he's ready. Tell me a little bit about this always happens in your films. There's always at least one scene that has this really amazing dynamic lighting. I'm talking about the blue on the wall as Mitch and Sam are walking up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your setup for that.
I think we literally had like a an LED light that we just shined on the wall, like the side of the house, and then we put a blue gel over it. And I was like, "Yeah, we'll quote unquote simulate, nighttime." And then, I mean, there's like a huge shadow on the wall, so it's like pretty obvious we just pointed a light at it. But I don't know, I just thought it looked cooler to try to have that blue. I like having the blue look in my films, so I did that. And then you never see anything like that at any other point in the movie.
Mhm.
But I just thought it'd be cool for that shot.
Well, it's always a way to get a vote out of me. Big fan of the dynamic lighting. Sam is right there, he looks back, and then it's the reveal, and this is genuinely the biggest pop of the night. Alright, Mitchell is revealed as Robin. T I mean, tell me a little bit about that. Where did you want to so is that part of the reason that you wanted Sam to be Batman? Because Sam and Mitchell are a dynamic duo just like Batman and Robin?
That was part of it. That was definitely an influence, although, I mean, Sam was going to be Batman regardless, like, he was the only choice, like, if he didn't wanna do it, I'm not even sure if I even would've done a Batman movie, to be honest,
Wow.
but once he signed on, I asked Mitchell if he'd be willing to wear a Robin costume, and he said yes, so I found a Robin costume, bought it, and then I was like, "All right, they'll get a kick out of this." I know people, because like Sam as Batman would be funny, because especially since the costumes are so awful. Like they had like terrible reviews, and I knew they were garbage. And I was like, honestly, this kind of adds a lot to the film. The fact that they're this bad,
Mhm.
because it's really not supposed to be good. So we got him in, and then we literally did. I think, and Mitchell's behind the scenes video, I don't know if he'll have, by the time this podcast airs, I'm guessing he may have released that video by now or not, but
Mhm.
we did like a reveal where Sam was in the costume, we saw him, and then we had another reveal where Mitchell was in the costume, and he came around the corner, and we just like got everybody's reaction to him wearing the costume. And it was a great moment, and then he killed it on screen. The one thing that I really feel bad about is that we filmed his scenes, and we thought we were done with the Robin costume, so we let him take it off. Then come to find out, we actually had some more to shoot, so he had to put it all back on
Oh,
again.
no.
And needless to say, he wasn't the most thrilled in the moment. He wasn't that about, but Mitchell, I appreciate your dedication, man. You really knocked it out of the park with this one.
I think Mitchell being the artist that he is, he would understand now that there is this beautiful finished product. I think he would agree that it was worth it.
I hope so. I think it was, at least. If nobody else does, I at least thought it was worth it.
Tell me, how much money did you take out of the bank to put in those bags? Because they are just overflowing with dollar bills, Matt.
$2,000 each. No, I think it was Josiah or someone, whoever, I guess the acting prop master essentially. They just stuffed it with random stuff. Honestly, don't even remember what was put in them. I think that was something while I was trying to do some directing stuff, they went and like filled them up to make them look stuffed, and then we took like a few dollar bills and just kind of put them on the top, and just so they would kind of fall out as they're running, just trying to like, better sell the fact that yes, they do have a lot of money.
I'm gonna need to remember to put the bleep in here, but the biggest laugh that I have is Sam beating the ever living out of Zach for some reason. Why does Zach get beat up so badly?
I mean, I just thought it'd be funny if he just like, I don't even remember if it was even in the script for that to happen. That might have just been something. I can't remember if it was in the script or if Sam just did it on his own or if I told him to do it. I honestly can't remember. Maybe Sam remembers or Zach or someone. But I just when it happened in the moment, we thought it was hilarious to have him just like beat him up over and over and over again, and then we just have like one little title card pop up saying like power, whatever it was.
Mhm. And then, I mean, while we're talking about the title cards, I mean, genius, a genius way to, again, we're going back to breaking the fourth wall,
Hmm.
but also just kind of a fun little nod to the old Batman.
Hmm.
And that's where Sam's power comes from, apparently. Tell
Yeah.
me about that.
So that was something I came up with several months beforehand. I don't even it just kinda popped in my head. I was like, I can make like a Batman spoof or whatever, and
Mhm,
then somehow I just like it'd be funny if like the only way that he's actually good at fighting the bad guys is because those title cards pop up on the screen.
mhm.
And so I just had like a whole like fourth wall gag where like he's fighting the villain and then the other like his little henchman goes over and like blocks Mitchell from being able to put it in front of the camera. So that way, that basically deprives Batman of his power and gives the villain the upper hand.
Now, speaking of those title cards, are each of those images tracked onto the board that he's
Mitchell
holding?
held up. So we cut out some blue poster board and like taped it onto a cardboard piece, and then he held that up, and then I went in and did all the stuff in post.
Jeez, man. Like, I guess it makes sense after you spent all the money on the costumes, you didn't wanna actually pay for, like, a canvas frame of those
I
title
just thought it'd
cards.
be easier to do that. Maybe not necessarily easier in terms of like how much time and effort was spent into it, but easier in terms of like I don't know. It was just one of those. I don't really want to take all this time to try to set them all up individually.
Mhm,
I'll just do it all in post. It was a fix it in post moment.
I gotcha. Now, the first reveal of that title card, Mitchell says, "How am I doing? How am I doing?" And Sam says, "Keep them coming. Keep them coming." Why are they saying these lines twice?
They're repeating things for emphasis.
I don't know why it makes me laugh, but it just
I
does.
don't know. I mean, like people, like that's just that's just how I guess my interpretation of how people talk. Like if someone's like running or running a race, you just say go go.
Yeah.
Like you typically don't just say it one time. I feel like in a moment like that, you're like keep them coming, keep them coming. We're like how am I doing? How am I doing? I guess it probably makes more sense if Mitch said it once and then Sam would say it multiple times. But I don't know. I just something I ran with.
No complaints here. I think it's perfect. Um, all right, so Mitchell finally gets the upper hand. Does he
Uh-huh.
actually hit Zach? And
I
also
think
at
he
the end of that shot, you can hear giggling from behind the camera.
Yeah, there wasn't really that much. Like, if I had more time, because like I was running out of time, so I didn't really like do a lot with the audio. If I had
Mhm,
more time, I would have gone and like fixed all of that. But that there wasn't really anything I could do about that. I don't think he hit him very hard, or he might have hit him like to some extent. But
mhm.
I think I put a sound effect to enhance it. I'm pretty sure.
I gotcha. It Again, it's one of those things that, like, even if you meant to take it out for whatever reason, I think it adds to it, just that little giggle.
I mean, it kind of does. I mean, it's the jankness of the PRFF.
You just said that you didn't mess with the audio much, so I kinda wanna ask this question. Some of the score in your film is panned, so, like, right ear, left ear stuff, is that just because you downloaded it that way, or did you actively have to edit it to do that?
That must have just been how it was mixed
Mm,
because I searched like the 1960s Batman movie with
mhm,
Adam West, and then I downloaded like some of the score for that, and I put that in, and then I also downloaded like from the Dark Knight score from the Dark Knight, and then I think the only other thing, oh, and then the end credits was the Batman Begins end credits, I think, or something like
mhm,
that. So I don't remember if there's any other music. It was just stuff I got it all from YouTube, so
okay.
it was just whatever the mix already was.
Yeah. Well, it blew my mind whenever I listened to it with headphones for the first time. I was like, "Wait, did he actively do this, or did it just come that way?"
No, I didn't have time to do anything fancy like that. I mean, I put in the sound effects
Mhm,
and I put in music and sound effects, pretty much up until the deadline, and then when I ran out of time, I just exported the video and uploaded it to the drive.
Speaking of sound effects, tell me a little bit about the failed punches that Sam delivers to Paul.
So that being what that was is because originally in the script, he like, he just straight up tries to wallop him,
Mhm,
and it like doesn't work. But then, you can't really, it's kind of hard to like fake a punch and make it look realistic. Or I
mhm.
guess like make it look real, but not real, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So in order to like, keep the safety of our actor Paul in mind, Sam didn't really hit him very hard. So I was like, this looks kind of dumb. I need to figure out a way to like, try to sell the audience what's happening. I had to sell to the audience what's going on. So I was like, well, I'll just find some random like power down sounds,
Yeah.
and then I'll just kind of put those in. So like the idea is more, it's better conveyed what's going on to the audience.
Mm. Is one of those the pod racer from, Star Wars?
So are you talking about the very last one, like the machine winding down one?
Yeah.
That is the Ed 209 from RoboCop.
Oh my god.
That is, yeah. That is, for those who've seen the
Wow.
movie RoboCop, the enforcement droid 209. There's a scene where it like there's a glitch and it fires a bunch of ammunition at a poor soul. When they finally get it to shut down, it powers down, and that's where I got that sound.
Wow, that's a deep cut. That's a great reference. Good job, man.
Thank you.
Um, and then, of course, we get to the greatest fourth wall break ever. Your audience member throws the Nickelback CD in. Tell me about setting that shot up. Did you get Zach to send a picture of his house?
No, I traveled over to his place specifically to film that.
You took a trip just to
I don't remember if I shot anything else over there. I mean, yeah, obviously it was to hang out and like, you know, do friend stuff, like we played video games, watch movies or whatever. But the primary purpose of that trip was to get that. Now, that shot was so originally like the idea was we were going to do it outside at that exact spot, the festival
Yeah.
itself. Like, we're going to do the
Yep.
festival. And I wanted to have a shot where it looked like we were legitimately at the festival and it was like literally happening while we were watching it. Like it was like that was what that was. Like
Mhm,
in the script, it literally says, I think, like exterior party room film festival.
mhm,
And but then the shot itself was like kind of zoomed in and you can only see me. And so um but even if it was in the same location, I guess it probably still would have worked. I think people would have got it. But since we ended up doing it inside, it didn't really match. Like it wasn't, it didn't really work out quite as well as I thought it would. But that was the original idea, is that I was like gonna try to set it up to make it look like I was actually at the Party Room Film Festival, and then
mhm.
that thing happened live.
It was so genius and so well executed. The weather ruined it, but still
Yeah.
amazing. And I mean, I think I fell out of my chair when Sam reached beyond the aspect ratio.
That's the only reason I did that aspect ratio, is just for that one joke. Otherwise, it would have just been normal 16:9.
Wow, yeah, you commit to it the whole film just for that one thing. Um, all right, so we had 2 playful aspect ratio, bits or gags.
Mhm.
The other one would be an autobiopic, Andrew King's thing where he
Yeah,
pushes the walls.
yeah.
Which one do you think was better? Are you willing to take the stance and say that yours was better?
Uh, yeah. No, honestly, I like them both quite a bit, and they're both like, I'll say this, they're both really effectively used for their films. Like Andrew's a genius, and it got a really good laugh. It was a really, I think pretty much all the people I know, like the people at the festival, but then also my mom. Like I showed that film to my mom, and she cracked up when Andrew pushed the aspect
Mhm,
ratio out. Like she thought that was hilarious. But then she also thought it was funny when like when Batman reached over the aspect ratio to grab the CD.
mhm.
So honestly, I would say they're pretty much equal, because I think they both did exactly what they were trying to do very effectively.
I'm telling you, everybody lost their mind when Sam reaches down to the
Good. That was
T
the
tell
goal.
me tell me a little bit about the direction you gave Sam for that. because I mean, obviously he's reaching down to nothing.
We had like a green poster board, and then on the deck there's like where the wood is kind of like comes together, like that little slit you can just kind of slide a little piece of cardboard over in. So we kind of wedged the green poster board in there. We tried to get it to match up with the camera about what it would be, and then he just reached over and I green screened it and then masked it. So it was like keyframes in After Effects with a mask and
yeah,
then keying out the green. And it I could have done a better job, but I didn't really have a lot of time. I just kind of rushed it, so it doesn't look perfect, but it looks good enough. It accomplishes what it needs to accomplish.
it looked perfect. And speaking of another perfect thing in your film, the robbing Robin line is the best written line of the Party Room Film Festival so far.
Thank you. You think so?
I can't think of any that would amount to it. Can you?
I don't know. I'd have to think. I feel like there's some other lines that are pretty good that people have come up with. But I will say this about that line. That was an improv on the spot line by me because in the original script, Mitchell says, "Let's go, Batman. I don't think these guys will be robbing anyone anytime soon."
Mm,
And then I don't even know why I changed it, but I think it literally popped in my head. We were literally setting up for that shot, and like right before we were about to do it, that line just came to me, and I was like, "Here, don't say this instead. I think this is funnier." And then I had him say it. So like that was something that if we had done that shot maybe like 1 or 2 minutes prior, that line probably wouldn't have even made it in.
that's crazy. It's crazy the things that happen on set that make the
Yeah,
movie better.
yeah.
And I mean, that comes from just I think you have the best cast film of any film also.
Thank you.
A
I
close second would be Josiah's Greatest Showdown from this year.
that one was really good. Yeah, he nailed that one.
But I mean, you've got the Sam Mitch duo, you've got
Mhm,
the trio of Paul, Zach, and Josiah.
mhm.
I don't it's just perfect. Hey, do you want to play a mini game with me real quick?
A mini game? I love mini games.
Do you know what the mini game is? Who
Yep.
would win in a fight?
Let's go.
Since you are the champion, you do have some tough competition, I will tell
Alright.
you that.
Bring 'em on, man.
It might not all of them might be as fair as I have been on other guys, but you're the champion, you know?
Alright.
Matt, who would win in a fight, you or the Big Show? He is 7 foot tall. He
Yeah,
weighs
500 pounds.
537.
So, in a cage match, right? We're like in a cage, that's the
Yep.
setting. Okay. And it's a fight to the death?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Are we just fighting till one just gives up or
We haven't clarified that all season, which seems weird retroactively, but yeah, it's a fight to the death.
I mean, because I'm just saying, like, if fight or flight kicks in, I probably, I mean, obviously he's like infinitely more strong than me, but I've also probably like more nimble and like dodgy. I've probably got like more quickness. I could probably like try to run away and just be like super tactical. So I think if it came down to it, he could probably take me maybe only, I would say I could get him like once or twice out of 10. I could probably take him once or twice out of 10. I could
Okay, so
probably,
he wins.
I don't know. I could probably like somehow choke him out or something. Something crazy would happen. I would just like get really lucky and land a couple blows, kind of knock him silly, and just finish him off from there. But the majority of the time, he would just break me in half, a la the bear with Jacob on Aaron's shirt.
Hey, we don't talk about that, all right? Stop. You versus Bruce Willis.
That's not fair, dude. Dude got diagnosed with dementia recently, man. Like that's kind of not cool putting him on there. But
That's not true, is it?
it is, dude. It
Oh,
is
no.
legit. He's retired. He just retired from acting. He was diagnosed with like aphasia or something. Something's called, and then I think he's like formally diagnosed with dementia. But anyway, if we're going by like Die Hard Bruce Willis, if we're
Whoops.
talking like 1980s or even 90s Bruce Willis, well, he beat Hans Gruber, and I'm no Hans Gruber. So honestly, I'm gonna have to give it to Bruce. I think he's got this.
Matt, you versus Elsa from Frozen.
Me, Matt.
Oh, that was your answer? You win?
I win, yeah.
She has ice
Sentient snow
powers.
monsters, I ain't scared of that. I've
All
also
right.
never seen the films that she's associated with, so I don't really know anything about her.
All right, I call shenanigans on that. You've never seen Frozen. Come on.
I don't know, man. I feel confident,
Matt versus Hamilton.
We're pretty even in terms of like height and weight. He weighs a little more than I do, but I'm a little taller. The writing part, he's probably got me on that. The revolution was a really long time ago. I don't know if those skills necessarily translate to modern warfare. I think I could take him.
You got Alexander Hamilton. All right. I'm curious about this next one. Matt, who would win in a fight between you and Isaiah the Eagle? This was Asbury's mascot,
Yeah.
apparently. I've never
Yeah.
seen him before.
So in this scenario, are we saying that this is like the actual mascot that has just like a human inside of it? I'm just fighting a human wearing a giant eagle costume, or are we saying that this is like the real Isaiah Eagle? Like this is like the actual creature itself.
Let's say it's the actual creature itself, but it has all of
Okay.
the abilities that the human and the mascot has. So it's this giant eagle that's bipedal, which I mean, I guess all birds are, but it can't fly.
Well,
And
if
like
we're in a cage, I don't really
talons are
know
made of foam.
how good flying. I don't know if flying's really going to help that much in like a cage match. It would probably help a little bit. It'd probably smack me with its wing. I'd probably get knocked out by that. But then I don't know. I could just run around and kind of do like combat roles and stuff. I think that's honestly a fairly even matchup.
Hmm,
I think you know it's hard to fight. Freedom. I think the eagle would probably take it.
there we go. Matt, who would win between you and a Jigglypuff?
Me, I'll
You
squash
don't
that
e-
little thing.
don't even need to think about it. All right. Matt, who would win in you versus Larry the Cucumber?
I don't know. I don't like cucumbers very much in terms of eating them, but good at dodgeball, sword fighting, no arms or legs. See, they have the ability, the VeggieTales, to like grab stuff even without arms and legs. So like
Hmm.
he could theoretically put me in a chokehold, but I'm gonna have to give the W to me. I think I take it.
I can confidently say that I would put money on you in that fight. This one might be a little brutal because we have some Matt on Matt action. Matt, you versus Matt.
What is this, dude?
So this is the me from Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. He is the boss at basically everything.
That's hilarious.
He will
Well,
beat you in boxing, swordplay, table tennis.
he is a boxing champion, and we're in a cage match, so I think Matt wins.
Matt, who would win in a fight between you and Mickey?
The wizard part is a little concerning. The fact that he's the most powerful mouse alive isn't that concerning. I think I would probably be able to fight him off. He could use wizard stuff, but at some point I'll just like grab the wand away from him, and then what's he gonna do?
Yep. All of that magic power comes from like the little hat that he gets.
Oh well, then I'll take the hat then.
Matt versus Miss Piggy.
That's yeah. Honestly, of the previous couple, I'd say Miss Piggy would honestly be the toughest. She's very feisty. I don't think it would be very pleasant to try to fight against her,
Hmm.
especially considering she is knowledgeable of the art of karate. All that to say, I think I could maybe like try to get behind her and just like yank her down by her hair, and then I think I could get a W that way.
So violent. All right, there's a typo on this next one. Matt, who would win in a fight between you and Ronald McDonald's? Not the corporation, just the mascot of Ronald McDonald.
See, that's the thing. I could take him out, but the whole thing of like him having friends, like he'd be able to call him backup.
Hmm.
I would be able to fight off Ronald McDonald, but if he gets like the Hamburglar up in there and all
Hmm.
those other people, that's where I'm like, I can fight him off fine, but the whole gang, that's probably not going to happen.
How about Matt versus the Bible character Samson?
Well, I'll say this: with long hair, I'll be dead in a minute. not even a minute. He'll just take me and break me up into little pieces like a little toothpick.
Mm.
But if I am somehow able to smuggle some scissors into the ring, and I'm
Mm.
able to like kind of run around and I'm able to like, cut his hair, then who knows, there's a chance.
The good strategy, the rare strategy where you have a sharp object, but you don't try to stab the opponent.
Yeah, I know. I would stab him after I cut his hair, and then I'd go for the stab. But you got to get the haircut first, or else I don't know if stabbing it would even really do a lot.
All right. Matt versus SJ Sharkey. He is the
Sharky.
San Jose
So
Sharks.
I recently went to a Tampa Bay Lightning hockey game. Their
Mhm.
mascot is the Thunderbug. It's like this like bee or something. I don't know. It's like some bug. And I think I could beat that mascot. But SJ Sharky though, I think the shark would probably like bite my head off. I don't like my chances against that.
All right. Tell me, Matt versus a tiger.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna win that one. I mean, I would say my best hope would just be to try to like, I don't know. I guess just if it goes for me, try to like deke it out and like dodge away from it, and then try to like jump on it and like put all my body weight on and try to choke it out or something. I don't know. Just wail and just punch, just be super aggressive, and then just I don't know. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it'd be too good of a matchup for me.
Matt, you versus Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. What's up, Doc? Yeah, here's the thing. I know what his tricks are. You know, it's
Hmm.
wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season. We would play that game, but I don't know if I would pull a Daffy Duck and fall for it. I think I would probably be able to take out Bugs Bunny.
All right, and then final matchup of the season, Battle of the Greatest Directors. I
Uh
mean,
oh.
it depends on opinions, I guess. Matt
Ah,
versus Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. Well, Steven Spielberg is originally from Cincinnati, which is where I'm from originally.
Hmm.
So we have that in common, at least. I mean, I don't know if he was born in the city proper or a suburb. I was born like in a suburb right next to Cincy, but he's pretty old. He's got good films, but if we're like trying to punch each other out, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I would beat him.
I think you got it. All right, well, that's all the opponents I have for you. Do you have time for just a few more questions?
Of course.
I say that
What
like
if I
we're not
said
about
no? What
to.
if I just ended this call right now? What would you do?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll never know. It's like, I mean, we are about to, just do another interview after this. So, I mean, it's a good question. Matt, an if time or budget wasn't an issue, what would be different for your film?
I probably would have. I probably would have a straight up a Batmobile in it. Like he would like drive. I would probably have him try to trick out his car into like a really awful just like makeshift Batmobile. Like he
Mm,
would paint it black and paint like the bat symbol on it, and then he would attach like a rocket looking thing on the back. But then it would just be like his Toyota Matrix. It's what Sam drives. So it would literally just be like that. But then I would have put like some like random bat gadgets on it. So it'd be like a really just crappy, just awful Batmobile. And then I would probably have like I guess probably just like a bigger location, maybe like a bigger yard, like a bigger porch, just so there's like more space to
mm.
choreograph like more of a fight. Because the location was really good. It like really worked out for the film. But if I were trying to like go bigger and bolder and I had like unlimited money, then I would probably try to have like maybe some sort of I guess more intricate fight scene. It probably wouldn't last any longer, but there would maybe be a couple more fancy moves in it with if there was more room to maneuver. And I would also the lighting would be better because the lighting was awful because we literally, we set up a couple lights and it was just like, can you see what's happening? Yes. Okay, cool. We'll shoot
Mhm.
that. But
Mm.
with phones being what they are, they need a lot of light for them to look good. And I don't know, I just kind of had to do what I had to do. But I would probably try to improve the lighting, and we'd have a janky Batmobile. Other than that, I mean, I don't know if the film would even be that much better if I sunk more money into it than I did.
I mean, yeah, like you talked earlier, like, you could buy the Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan, like a super
Yeah,
expensive, but it wouldn't be the
yeah.
same.
No, I wanted the '60s Batman costume all the way.
Hmm. Matt, rate years 1, 2, and 3 for me.
Well, I know it may not necessarily be considered like a classic party room film, but I really like the Mousetrap Killers a lot just because like I'm a big fan of action stuff and all that.
Mhm,
I wouldn't rank it number one. I mean, I would rank them in reverse order, obviously. Bargain Batman number one, Thrice Success number two, and then Mousetrap
mhm,
Killers. But I will say that Mousetrap Killers, if I had actually completed all the special effects and like all the sound design and everything, and actually turned in what I originally wanted to,
mhm,
then that one would probably have higher standing for me. But as it stands, I think I got to go with the actual Dewey winning film. Bargain Batman is number one, and then Thrice this Dice. I mean, it's that one was a lot of fun to make. Um, so yeah, I would probably do Bargain Batman, Thrice, and then Mousetrap Killers.
very nice. Matt, do you have any voting criteria? What boxes need to be checked in order to earn your vote?
I really don't have like anything specific. I just if I really like, I just kind of like go by feel in the moment. And a lot of times I'll vote and then like, a day or 2 or weeks later, I'll be like, I'd probably vote for a different film if I did it over again. But like
Mhm,
just whatever feels right in the moment, I just go for it. But I don't care if it's turned in late or not. That doesn't influence me. With the penalty. Now, if we didn't have the penalty, then I'd probably be like, I don't want to vote for a late film because they had more time to do stuff. But I
mhm.
think the penalty, in my opinion, is pretty fair because I did vote. I think both films that I voted for this year, I think they were both late. I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
So that doesn't really bother me.
Who do you want to be the actor for? And is there a certain character you would like to play?
As far as I mean, I'll say like the PC like like neutral answer and say that I would love to work with anybody because I think everybody has like their own unique
Boo.
talents and skill sets and all that.
Boo.
Shut up! I'm getting to the good part. But all that to say, I would love to be like in an Andrew Keane film. I love his like he has like that pretentious humor that I find really entertaining. I think it's hilarious. And I think it'd be fun to have like a role of some sort in an Andrew film. Um, it's a lot easier to work with people that you're close to, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there for any aspiring party room directors who may or may not be listening to this. When the filming period starts in June and July, I have money. I will travel. So even if you're in,
Oh,
if you're in DC, if you're in Northern Ohio, Central Ohio, if you're in Indiana, if you're in Georgia,
there we go.
I'm willing to come down and be in your film. Just saying.
Wow. That's a big commitment. Let's all commit to having Matt in our film so that he just has to travel a bunch this summer.
I will do it. I love being in films. I had the privilege of being in I think 4 last year, and it was a lot of fun. So
I'd
I'm always
have to
down.
look at the numbers again, but I think you are the most, on-screen actor.
Possibly. I mean, I feel like there was like 1 or 2 other people who were in a bunch of films. I know Zach's in a lot of films. Like
That's true.
he's like one of the most sought after talents. So.
Did you have a character that you would like to play for Andrew
Oh, right, I
King?
forgot about that part. I like playing kinda like the whole, like, straight deadpan, kinda like serious characters,
Mhm.
like, I don't know, like a detective or
Mm,
something, like, kinda like a Leslie Nielsen kinda character, like his kinda humor, like,
yeah.
playing Naked Gun, that kinda thing. I think that's fun. I liked playing Senor Verde in, Sam's film. That was pretty wild. That was a cool one. I don't know. I'm pretty willing to be, whatever the script demands, but I think like being some sort of like straight face like detective, like dry humor, that's kind of I feel like what I do well with.
That's your wheelhouse, I gotcha. If you could have a tag team partner, who would you choose?
Well, I mean, trying to throw proximity bias aside, if we all lived equidistant from each other in terms of convenience and everything,
Mhm.
I think it would be fun to work with. I know they're hard to get. I feel like he's hard to get a hold of, but Landers would be kind of interesting to work with.
Mm.
And I think like that kind of trio, like that 3-man room trio of like Levi, Aaron, and Landers. I don't know. I feel like their type of humor and their like creativity and stuff. I think it's fun to work with that. It would be fun to do I think it would be kind of fun to do a Jacob McGlone collab
Ooh.
because we could pair like the technical abilities of me with like special effects and like shooting and stuff, and then like
Mhm.
the fever dream creativity, the over just the total craziness of McGlone. I think that would be a really fun dynamic. It'd be really interesting.
Dude, we would make history, is all I'm saying. We would make history. This is new this year, but I have not been authorized to do this, but we're doing it anyway.
Okay.
Matt, as the Golden Dewey winner, I would like to grant you one wish for the next year. Now, this
Okay.
wish can be anything you want.
Okay.
However, during the council episode, I will bring it to them
Okay.
as the intercessor between
Okay.
you and them. Like, you can't have an
Gotcha.
audience with them. I have to take it to them,
That's
and
fair.
they will
Understandable.
decide whether or not to grant it, or maybe they adjust it and then grant it. But you can do anything you want. You can say that Mitchell can only do a 3-minute film or something like
Okay,
that.
yeah, sure, that can be my wish. Yeah, let's go with that. No, I'm kidding.
but but Matt, if I could grant any wish for you as far as the Party Room Film Festival is concerned, what would that wish be?
There's so many ways I could go with this.
Yeah.
I will. Hmm, I guess I'll just. I wish that. I wish that my next assigned talent would be either Landers, Levi, or Aaron.
One of the trio.
Yeah, one of those three.
Do you have or I guess that'd be really mean to be like, I mean, obviously I'd want Aaron, and if not, then Levi, but I mean,
No, I
then
mean,
what? Like,
well, I mean, if people couldn't already figure it out, it's just I have an idea involving them, so
mm,
it should be pretty self-apparent when I ask for those actors specifically that that's what I intend. But but hey, whoever I get assigned is whoever I get assigned. But I guess that would be my wish is to get one of those three because it would
there we go.
be convenient for me.
All right, I will take that to the council. It sounds reasonable. I don't understand why it couldn't be a thing. So I'll we'll find out whenever their episode airs.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any Easter eggs, fun facts, or stories from behind the scenes that you want to touch on?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head that hasn't already been covered. I'm pretty sure everything, like all the interesting bits anyway. I don't think there's really any like crazy story or
Mhm.
anything there is to tell. I mean, Mitchell's behind the scenes video should be a good supplement if you want to see, get a glimpse into the making of the film.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of the season of the season 2 of the Party Room
We
Film
did it.
Festival podcast.
Great job,
We did
man.
it.
Loved it. Great season.
Is there anything you want to like, obviously you're the reigning champ going into next year. Is there anything you want to say to your competitors slash allies?
Just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, lightning can strike from anywhere. Um, it's a free for all out there. You never know what's going to happen. So I'd say just if you come up with a really crazy, bizarre idea that you might think doesn't work, I promise you there's a way it could work. I promise you can
Mm,
figure it out.
mm. All right. Well, this has been the PRFFP, and I'm just hanging out.
Hanging out with my family.